See if anyone is able to join me on the live stream today. If you are watching me on the replay, I really appreciate it. Please go ahead and comment below what you got to do this weekend or maybe something you're looking forward to during this week. It is Sunday evening here in East Tennessee, and it's finally starting to feel like cooler weather. I think the high today was like 78. And yesterday was a little bit chilly that when I was in the mountains, I actually got to put on like a little sweater over my shirt, and it just felt so nice because this summer here was so brutal. It just felt like it was 90 some degrees every single day. So I'm looking forward to fall vibes. I'm gonna light my little Dollar Tree pumpkin candle thing here to get the vibes going. And in this video, I just want to do a flip through of my recent Traveler's Notebook stint and kind of talk about it a little bit. I also made an iced coffee. It's the Nescafe iced coffee version with Coffee Mate Natural Bliss pumpkin spice creamer or something. I forget what it's called. Very good. Very good. Yeah, it has been a long time since I've done a live stream. I want to say it's been at least a couple months. I'm not sure when I did one last, but I just wanted to do a flip through, and there's a funny story of why I want to do a flip through in this live stream. Just like everything else that I attempt to do, it ended up being funny, so yeah. But anyway, we got our candle going, we got our coffee going. I'm just going to talk about my recent adventures with my Traveler's Notebook. If you've watched some of my previous videos, I kind of had a meltdown where I put together a new Traveler's Notebook and I absolutely hated it. And I didn't like edit that footage out on the video because I wanted you all to see that the journaling and planning community on YouTube is not perfect and not all about aesthetics. I know a lot of people like to make their videos look effortless, but there's a lot of exhausting work that goes in them, and it goes into creating your journal sheets that I feel like we need to talk about that more. So that's why I kept that in there. But anyway, I want to talk about, I put together a new spread, and basically I did a journal palooza. And for those of you who are kind of new to my channel, Journal Palooza is when you just get completely caught up in your journal or planning and you don't think about it. You just throw stuff in your notebook with whatever materials you have and you write something and you do not think about it. And when I did Journal Palooza this time, I was so behind that I actually didn't even record it because I didn't want that to take away from me. And my bag of ephemera was overflowing. Like literally I've had stuff in there for 6 or more months that I haven't journaled about, so I just needed to do that. So I put together a new journal with my olive when it was still the limited edition cover, and actually swapped out the band for this navy blue one. It just felt right to me. And then I put my little Traveler's Notebook charm kind of on this piece up here in the corner. Instead of putting it here, I just felt like the vibe was right. And let's open it up. And so the first notebook in this setup is just the thin paper, the plain paper one. And then in the back, it is the sketchbook page. I haven't done anything in the sketchbook yet, but I did save the refill sketch paper tab and put it in here because often people ask me which inserts are which, and honestly, I just can't always remember. And then this is the Coffee and Notebooks pencil sheet, which is from a couple years ago. I can't remember exactly which year because I felt like the orange and the green vibe for fall is kind of just what I've been looking forward to. So I put that in there. And then this is a notebook I had got from Archer and Paper Goods, which I have a video here on my channel if you want to check it out. This is like a Traveler's Notebook size, but it's just a little bit more narrow, and it is 6mm ruled notebook with kind of like a cream paper. And I just thought it was different. This is the first time I've used a non-Traveler's Company insert in my Traveler's Notebook, so it felt exciting for me. And I liked putting the narrow one in the middle. That way, when you open up the notebook and you're writing, you have something to lean on the other notebook since they carry over, if that makes sense. So yeah, I finally bit the bullet and was like, I need to start using other things that I have. These traveler stickers, I believe, this one is from Eugenie from Genie and the Techo. I have some in this notebook too. I love these Boat Travelers Company stickers she sent me. And I can't remember who sent me the mushroom stickers. I want to say it was Katrina Katz from Paper, Pens, and Coffee. And if I'm incorrect, I apologize. For some reason, I just like felt that the fall vibe, mushroom seemed very appropriate. So anyway, I am going to go through my first notebook in this, which really is the only one that has something. But I honestly was super proud of myself because after not journaling for so long, I managed to fill up probably more than half of this notebook in one sitting. And I felt really, really happy. Oh, David's here. It could be ephemeral content from Bomb Cookin'. Yeah, it must be. I've never ordered from them, so maybe someone else did. But is it the Travelers one or the mushroom one? I think I have. So I have multiple Travelers ones. I don't know if it's from the Travelers Taiwan, but I just like the look of it, that like vintagey look. So I just took this sticker from the 2024 calendar, put it on the front. I put a Hello Kitty sticker. My niece had given me for Christmas last year, kind of like a pen set that came with Hello Kitty stickers. And there was something funny about this cowboy one. I was like, I'm putting it on there. And yeah, I'm just gonna do a flip through and just maybe if you're gonna journal along with me or you wanna ask any questions, don't be afraid to pop things in the chat. Like I said, I didn't really think about this one. I just decided I needed to just put stuff in a notebook. David said they have a little Gashbin machine and all sorts of silly things come out, like mushroom stickers. Oh, like if you go in store, there's like a machine like that. That is super cool. When I went to the Planet Word Language Museum in DC before I moved, they have like a machine that like spits out poetry at you. It's really cool. You like put stuff in and like prints out a receipt with poems. Oh, that's so cool. I haven't ordered anything from there yet, but I'm sure I would love a lot of their stuff. This is just a photo I use on my Kodak photo printer, which is probably one of the most useful things I've purchased. Highly recommend. I can post a link after I post this live. Every time I use it, because I took it on vacation this year, friends and family asked me, everyone asked me about this because it prints really decent photos and it's not expensive. So this is my favorite Korean cafe in Duluth, Georgia, and it's called Vincent's Cafe, and it's kind of like a play. It's designed after Vincent Van Gogh. It's a Korean-run bakery. It is just absolutely amazing. If you're in the Atlanta area, I highly recommend it. Their coffee is like perfect every time. And then I just have some fortunes from Chinese fortune cookies because duh. And somewhere I go always has French ones. I guess it's because they sell them in Canada too, and I always think that's funny. And then I put a Hello Kitty with a pumpkin because again, we're ready for fall. So the exciting thing about this journal is I finally did my Mexico City spring break spread, which I posted about a while ago, how I was not bringing a traveler's notebook to Mexico City because I felt so uninspired. Instead, I had brought this Apuntes notebook, which I purchased at a stationery store in Charlottesville, Virginia a while back. This is actually a Mexican brand and they're made in Mexico City. I tried to visit the store when I was there, but I didn't end up getting to go in. Of course it's a long story, but I love this notebook. I love the size. I love how it lays flat. I love the cream colored pages. It's just like, and it does have a pocket, and I want to say it was not overly expensive. I think it was cheaper than a Moleskine and a Leuchtturm, but there was just something about it that I loved. And since I was going to Mexico, I was like, well, I should use a Mexican branded notebook when I'm there. So everything I wrote in here was just kind of like raw and messy looking. And I just wanted to have like one notebook on my trip to kind of record my thoughts and stuff. So I just made this little spread, used some washi tape. Here is my ticket. And I saved, when I went to a Japanese restaurant, of course I saved like a chopsticks thing. And this is from the breakfast in my hotel. I stole one of the placemats, the paper placemats, to put in my journal because of course I would. I kind of just wrote down some different things. I showed it on my haul video, but I did get a Frida Kahlo stamp at the Frida Kahlo Museum in Mexico City, and I started using it. I just loved it. There's just something about it. And I put some quotes from her. Again, the goal when you're doing a journal palooza is to not overthink. You just literally put stuff in a notebook. This is a receipt from that cool Japanese-ish stationery store I went to in Mexico City. My all-time favorite coffee shop in Mexico City, and let's face it, I went to a lot of them when I was there, was Voulez-Vous Bakery, and I think it's in Roma Norte. And this is a travel trick that I learned from Samantha Brown, who I got to meet in 2019, by the way. She's amazing. Years ago, where when you're traveling, you should always try to go to like one place, go to a single place every single day on your trip. It helps you build a routine. It makes you feel like you're part of like that neighborhood. So I would always go to this coffee shop every single day, no matter what. And it was just around the corner from my hotel, and I was part of building that routine. Then some tickets from the Mexico City Metro. Again, this is another photo I took with my Kodak printer. Their desserts and their coffee, it just perfection. So obviously I had to take a picture of that. Katie's here from Katie's Nesting Spot. Hello, Katie. How was your weekend? And let us know what you've been up to. Hopefully, I'm guessing up there the weather's a little bit better. It finally cooled off here in Tennessee, and I feel like I'm not overly hot. Then I printed a photo of myself in the center of Mexico City. This is weird. Maybe it's just me. But in my hotel, it was tiled with like these beautiful tiles everywhere. And like every time I was in my hotel room, I just like, you can't tell in the picture, but like they shine, the like amber color in it. And I just took a picture of that tile because I always wanted to remember it. So I printed the tile and then I wrote about it in my journal. Here's the controversial part of my journal palooza. And let me know in the comments if you do this or do not do this. At first, I told myself I was just going to save this notebook, so everything I wrote, which was super, super messy, was just going to stay in here, and that's going to serve as like my memory keeping. But I decided, which again might be controversial, was to rewrite everything I wrote in my journal with a fountain pen in my traveler's notebook. And honestly, I'm really glad I did it. At first, I was like, no, just get everything in your notebook and move on with your life. The act of copying from my ugly notebook into my traveler's notebook as part of my spread helped me think about my trip more and reflect on it and like appreciate it more. So I'm actually surprised it took me a few hours to sit down and rewrite all this from my journal, but I did it and I'm very satisfied with it. And I used my TWSBI Eco fountain pen with the emerald green TWSBI Eco ink. Katie said your weekend hasn't been the greatest at home. Yeah, I can't even tell you how many of my coworkers have COVID. I'm so sorry. I hope you all are okay. Back to school illness. Yeah, it's not only is it the back to school thing, but on top of it, COVID is just like really bad right now. I had it at the end of July. My friend here had it last week, and luckily over Labor Day weekend, she was able to get like a virtual appointment. And I was able to go pick up the Paxlovid and deliver it to her doorstep. And then I had a lot of students who were sick last week with fevers. I'm not sure if that meant that they had COVID, but they didn't come to class because they had fever. So everyone be as safe as you can. I know it's impossible to avoid going out nowadays because jobs and stuff like don't care if you're sick. They still want you to show up, but just do your best. Yeah, so sitting down and rewriting, so I literally just copied everything verbatim into my traveler's notebook to be part of the spread, and it really helped. Just put a coffee sticker, because let's face it, I drank a lot of coffee when I was in Mexico. Well, I do that everywhere. This is just some stickers. This is actually from Zen Glyph a long time ago, probably more than a year ago. She had these like Polaroid stickers. They're little mini Polaroids, and they're of nature, so they're of trees and the ocean and the sky and the moon, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. I'd ordered them from Amazon, and I just wanted to fill up space here, so I cut two of the Polaroids. I cut a Polaroid in half into two, some stamp work. Again, I stole one of the placemats from the breakfast place at my restaurant because that's who I am and what I do, and I just put some of the food quotes on there. Oh, Squibble Designs here. I'm so glad you're able to catch a live stream. I guess, is it early in the morning there? I hope you've had a good weekend. Yesterday I got to go in the mountains, and I got to go to part of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and it was really nice. We did not see any bears, although last time we were there, we saw bears, so that was exciting. And then again, more kind of like ephemera all over the place. We got a Yoseka stationery from when I ordered my Raymay from there with their Charlie Brown washi tape. This is a dried flower. I think I either bought myself flowers or someone had given me flowers because I bought myself flowers because you should. And I just dried one of the leaves and put it in my traveler's notebook. The book cover I bought from Kinokuniya. One of the tea bags from Yogi Tea. It has a little bit of like a proverb or like an inspirational quote, so I saved that. And then of course more Chinese fortune cookies. It's 8:45 in the morning on a Monday here. Yes, I had a good weekend. Now, just so you all know, next Sunday is when my article's due for the publication I'm supposed to be published in. And am I done the article? Absolutely not. But does going to the mountains and doing a live stream for YouTube make me feel better instead of actually sitting down to write my article and get it done? Absolutely. So I'm sure this time next week I will be panic typing. Hopefully not. I think I'm okay with it. Again, I save chopstick wrappers for all the time. I don't know why. This is from something I bought. I don't remember, like a shampoo or body wash. I went to a pottery show here in Knoxville last year, or maybe it was in the fall. It was like a women's in the arts. I don't know what it's called. It's like the Women's League of Potters or something in the state. It was so cool. It was at a Greek church, so like that made it even cooler. But I had bought two little vases and a coffee mug, which I'm pretty sure I talked about in a live stream before. Like maybe I had bought it that day, so I wrote about that. I saved her card. I got to visit my friends and family back in Philly and New Jersey this summer, so I saved like my train ticket, and I went to the Cape May County Zoo, which if you're in New Jersey, I highly recommend because surprisingly, this zoo was amazing, way bigger than I thought, and it was actually free to go to. So again, a free to stamp. This is the soap that I use from Omoi in Philly, and I just save the wrappers because it's in Swedish, so why not? Okay, let me catch some of the comments. Thank you for good luck in the article. I have made progress, so it's not like I haven't made any progress. I feel like I'll be fine, but there's just something that like lingers. It's like something on your shoulders that you're like, I have to get this thing done. And the problem is it can't be done like during my normal work time because I still have to teach and everything this week. So it's like when I come home at night, that's when I need to be writing the article. And so you're kind of sacrificing your personal time. You can identify with that sort of thinking. Okay, good. I'm glad we can all identify. That's why we're here, right? To share our ways of thinking, which are probably more similar than different. Okay, here there is a store in Amish country in Lancaster that whenever I'm home in Pennsylvania, I usually get a chance to stop and visit that area. This is a note from Eugenie, from Jeannie Natecha, when she sent me a bunch of stuff. Instead of, like, I copied out some of the notes just because I don't want to put all of them in there. This is a Ukrainian herbal tea. Is that the right word? Herbal tea that I drink a lot of. And I'm able to buy it here because we actually have like a Eastern European store in Knoxville, so I'm able to buy a lot of stuff. A business card for Omoi, which is in Philly, which is probably my favorite in-person stationery store as of right now. I think Eugenie also gave me some Diamine ink, so I saved that little logo. I had bought a tote bag when I was in LA for work last year and it had Hello Kitty on it, and I saved the wrapper. Mexican restaurant here in Knoxville. Not my favorite, but it was good. I randomly found a boarding pass from Alaska Air when I flew to LA for work last year. So what I do is throughout the day, I save everything I can that I think would go well in my journal. I just throw it in my bag, and when I have Journal Palooza time, I'm able to sit down and work with it. World of Coca-Cola, which is in downtown Atlanta. I went there in January. It's kind of like you get like a behind-the-scenes look at Coca-Cola, because this is where it's from, Atlanta. And they have like a tasting room, and they have Coke, like soda from all around the world. It was a cool experience. My friend came back from Portugal and bought these interesting jams with like peppers and stuff in it, so we tried those. A gelato and espresso place in New Jersey, which I usually visit with my family when I'm home. Um, just this is from like a food wrapper from Russia that I always save because I love the design, and I have my hedgehog stamps. And for those who don't know, like hedgehogs are like wild there. So I remember when I first moved there and like I was getting off the metro and walking to my apartment, there was like hedgehogs in the street, just like crossing the street casually, which if you're an American, I don't know, do we have hedgehogs like wild here? We didn't where I grew up, so it was really exciting to always see the hedgehogs just like out and about. Um, a note from my mom's friend when I was in at her beach house. Again, more chopsticks wrappers. This is a like LGBT own and ran coffee shop here in Knoxville, which I finally got to go to. And I stopped there this weekend on my way to the mountains, and unfortunately, it is completely off my list. The coffee was terrible this time, like absolutely terrible, and the people working there, which is weird because they like co-own it and run it or whatever, were just like completely unfriendly and unwelcoming. And I will not be going back there anymore. So I could probably cut this out of my notebook, but that's not what I'm doing. This is from a store here in Knoxville that I also finally got to go to earlier this year. It's like a no waste store, and they have all kinds of stuff, like things I wouldn't even think that you could get like at a no waste store where you can bring your own containers and then fill them up. Or they have like donated recycled containers and you can fill them up. And some of the products that I bought there, even though they might be a little bit more expensive than what you would get elsewhere, it wasn't like that much more expensive. And the quality, because what they do is they source everything like from local makers or local artisans or, you know, whatever. And everything I've had from there is amazing. So I was glad I got to go there. And then this is the Peter Rabbit story, which I always loved when I was little. And I bought a Peter Rabbit chocolate rabbit last year for Easter, and I like saved the wrapper. And then this inspiration comes of working. I think this was from like a Delphonics. Was it Delphonics or High Tide item that I bought? And I just saved that. And then in Philly, I had gone to like a Japanese home store and I had bought like kitchen containers, and this was in it, so I just saved it. There's another coffee shop here in Knoxville. It's a coffee and flower shop that I got to go to, and it was just super cool because they actually are like nonprofit, and all of their proceeds go towards this organization to help end human trafficking and the exploitation of women. Plus their coffee was good and the atmosphere was great. So it's a little far for me. Like it's not a place I would go to regularly because it's kind of like 25 minutes out of the way of everything, but I would definitely return there. And this is the German coffee I would get from Lidl every time I'm somewhere where there's a Lidl because it's amazing. More stickers. This is from like whenever I donate, they like send you stickers and stuff. I saw a bear outside of a restaurant in Gatlinburg, Tennessee last time I was there. Like he was literally at the back door waiting for food. The bear problem has kind of become big here in East Tennessee. If you know, you know. Another fortune in French. A made in Japan sticker. I don't even know what it's from. And this is like Ukrainian chocolate cookies that I got here and ate when I was at the movie theater one time. And then this is a Jewish deli that we have here in Knoxville that it was also on my to-do list for a really long time. And I took a picture and printed it with my printer. It's an amazing breakfast. It's like, I mean, you can see in the picture, but this, I forget how you call this. I think this is Georgian. It's basically like hummus, but made from walnuts. And then you get like your pickled beets and vegetables, and then it's kind of like a sesame bagel, and their coffee was really good. It's one of those places that's only open like, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., like Tuesday to Friday, so I can really only go on days that I have off from work. I don't even know if it's like open on the weekends kind of situation. I wish they were open later, but alas, that is just the struggle. Carrots with a bagel. Yes, well, the way I look at it, it's like, well, you get some vegetables with your breakfast, which is good for your energy, right? I think you also get something else with this order. I think you get like a labna or one of those cheese dip things. I don't eat cheese, so I didn't eat that, and therefore it was also not in my picture. So yeah, with my Journal Palooza, literally in last weekend, I was able to fill more than half of this notebook, and I felt so good because for so long I haven't used my traveler's notebook really at all. And then the longer you don't use something, like the harder it feels to go back and use it. So I felt like this was like a win-win for me. Now the story behind it was the other day when I had an awkward like hour break between when I had to leave for somewhere else, I decided to sit down and do a flip through and record it on here. And I felt like I was saying very philosophical things. It sounded very smart and inspirational. And of course, it turned out it didn't record any of the audio. And I was like so upset. I just pushed everything to the side. I was like, forget it. Next time what I'm going to do is just do a live stream and do the flip through on there because, you know, you can always go back and watch the live stream again. But I felt so defeated that day. But yeah, so if anyone wants to know, it's with the TWSBI Eco in Fine with the Emerald Green ink by TWSBI. And then I mixed it up, and this is actually the Pilot Prera in Fine, which, do I have it right here? So this is probably the last fountain pen I acquired. This is the Pilot Prera in Fine for $20. I feel like it's an excellent value. Yeah, and I wrote with that for a page and a half. But I will say, compared to the TWSBI Eco, I prefer the TWSBI Eco to write with. There's something about how this is just a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if it's because of the size or like, I don't know. Maybe I just like my TWSBI Eco more, and naturally it just makes me happier. Don't know. But I felt like it was more physically difficult to write with the Pilot Prera, and that's why it only ended up being like the 2 pages. If that makes sense. So that is what I wanted to basically share on this live stream, and I appreciate everyone who's watching. I'm hoping to keep moving and not like, I feel like I've gotten over that hurdle and I can keep going with my journaling and such. I still save ephemera as the days go by, and I put them in a little bag, but you know, I do want to do a little bit more maybe long form journaling in here. One of the reasons why I put one of the sketch pages in here is because I do want to start doing some more artwork. My friends and I did a vision board night recently, and one of the things on my vision board was to just do more creative stuff. And that's why I want to do some art type stuff, which Scribble Design, since you're watching this, you're also part of that inspiration, because whenever I watch your studio vlogs and just kind of see like how you interact with your art, it just gives like a calming effect to me, even though I'm not at that level yet where I can do artwork like that. But part of the whole thing is to just do anything, like, right? Like paint anything, draw anything, like it doesn't have to be a final product. It's just the act of doing it. And I'm hoping to start getting into that again. I even flipped through my Hobonichi 22 last night with all my cat comics and was thinking about how I need to bring that back in that format, because looking back, it was so cool to have a couple months of my memories of what I did on those days through my cat drawings, and I just miss it. And I was like, got to keep up with that too. So that's my traveler's notebook. As tradition with any of my live streams, I want to talk about the book that I'm currently reading and talk about what movie or TV show I just watched or I'm watching. So because the sequel to Beetlejuice came out this weekend, and I will be looking forward to seeing that this coming weekend, I wanted to rewatch the original movie. So I rewatched Beetlejuice, which is so funny because last weekend in the movie theaters, I saw Don't Blink Twice, which has Gina Davis in it. And to watch her in this like 1980s movie versus the one last week, it's just so fascinating to see like how different of a role she played, and also just like how different she is. I just thought it was so cool. I love things like that. But the book I'm reading, which I just, again, went to my library's new book section, that's how I pick most of my stuff, is called How Can I Help You by Laura Sims. Now, I've only read about a chapter and a half because I didn't get home from the mountains till late yesterday, and I didn't have time to read before I went to sleep. But It is. I don't know how dark of a turn it's gonna take, but like I'm excited for if it does take a really dark turn. So the premise is it is a woman. I want to say she's middle aged, but I guess she is trying to cover up her past identity. So she shows up in this town and gets a job as a librarian, even though she doesn't know much about librarian stuff. And she's kind of like somewhat of like a pathological liar or con artist. Like we don't really know yet, but I just feel like it's like a dark turn because before she talks about how she was like a nurse working in the hospital, so I don't know like what she did. It gives very like Nurse Ratched vibes. But I'm so excited to keep reading because I want to find out who this woman was. There's just something about her. So this is by Laura Sims. I can't wait to see where it goes. And I feel like the writing is very good too. Like I love a nice novel where I can kind of just get lost in it and just read it and feel like I'm there before I go to bed. And this novel was definitely doing it for me. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to read. But most of the work I'm going to do today is for my article that is due next week. I have everything kind of outlined. I know what I want to say. It's just a matter of like having enough time to sit down and do it. And yeah, I hope you're all having a good September. It's kind of weird that it's September already, but at the same time, it's been too hot here and I'm happy for it. I love having the windows open and just enjoying the fall weather. And in the mountains yesterday, some of the leaves started to change colors. So like in another 2 weeks or so, all the trees are going to be like yellow and red and orange, and I'm also looking forward to that. Okay, Katie's also excited to see the sequel of Beetlejuice. You plan to see it next week. Okay, you're watching Only Murders in the Building. I tried to get into that and I just couldn't. My friends watch it. I think I watched like an episode or two, and for some reason, like I just couldn't watch it. I just saw that they renewed it for the next season or whatever, so that's always a good news type thing. And I'm looking forward to, the next things I'm looking forward to are The White Lotus on HBO, Hacks, I love Hacks on HBO, and The Gilded Age, which of course I also love. But yeah, there's just too many things to watch and read and write about, and I need to become a millionaire somehow by winning the lottery, so I have plenty of time to watch and read all these things, right? But we can keep dreaming. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. Again, if you watch me on the replay, go ahead and comment, let us know what you did this weekend. We'd love to know. I don't have a regular live stream schedule set up, but I do want to do, the next live stream I would like to do like a journal along with me, or maybe like a plan with me instead of just showing you a flip through. But I will say, if you're hesitating, no matter where you are in like the YouTube world, just do it and don't worry about recording it and how it looks. That's what worked for me and helped me get back into it. So y'all take care, and I will see you next time. And I'll also let you know how my article goes. I hope this time next week I can report that it is fully submitted, and I'm waiting to hear back from the editors to make my edits.